Welcome back to the third installment of The Kingdom Within. In this episode, we will be discussing the 7 divine energy centers and the flow of Kundalini, and how Yeshua reached oneness with God. Many of you likely know of the 7 chakras and the flow of Kundalini, but this episode is more to inform devout Christians of the Christ nature. My goal is to show Christians that rather than worshiping Christ, it is possible to be like Christ himself, as this was the true goal of Yeshua, to create a world all one with God. Many Eastern religions, such as Jainism, Hinduism, and Buddhism, all speak of the 7 energy wheels in our body, known as chakras. The 7 chakras are broken up into 2 groups: the lower centers, Muladhara, Svadhisthana, and Manipura, and the higher centers, Anahata, Vishuddha, Anya, and Sahasrara. It is in these 3 lower centers that the 7 deadly sins take form. When one engages in one of the 7 deadly sins, a blockage will occur in the energy system. Much of humanity only lives through these 3 lower centers, as this is only our animal nature. Now, this does not mean that all animals are bad. All this means is that they are on a lower stage in their soul evolution. We all came from oneness, and we must all find our way back again through each life we live. But when you reach the 3rd dimensional experience as a human, you have the opportunity to reach oneness. As animals partake in violence, it is not seen the same as when man does, because as I had said, they are on a lower part of their soul evolution. When they reach the stage of the 3rd dimension, they will be held more accountable. But as 2-dimensional beings, they are as they should be and where they are at. But it is said that man is made in God's image. This does not mean physically that God is a human being. Nowhere near. God is infinite in everything. What this means is that man has the opportunity to take on the role of God by seeking oneness and realizing that man is divine. Many souls don't understand this in their first human incarnation, and they have to keep repeating the cycle through reincarnation until it finally clicks. If this wisdom resonates with you, it is likely that this is not your first life as a human. If this sounds like utter nonsense, it is likely not your time. And if it's not your time, there's nothing wrong with that. Everything is in divine order. And for those that it is time, we must love all, including the people who see us as crazy, because everyone and everything, all living things, every plant, every animal, every bacteria, everything microscopic, all humans and all life in the universe is all God experiencing itself. We are all divine, just on different stages of our evolution. For those that act with ignorance and destruction, there is a lesson to be learned at the end. Everything has a lesson within it. The Word of God is everywhere. God is communicating always. And for the people who it is simply not their time, Yeshua himself spoke on this matter when he used the parable of the sower. This refers to Yeshua and his disciples as the awakened ones who saw the truth, and the crowd around them lost in confusion who still remain asleep. He began to say to the sleeping people, "A farmer went out to sow his seed, and as he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and birds ate them. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. When the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew and choked the plants. But other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 100, 60 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. The disciples then asked Yeshua, "Why do you speak to them in parables?" He replied to them, "Because the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom have been given to you, but to them it has not been given." Yeshua compared the sleeping mind to the infertile soil, and the awakened mind ready to receive the truth as fertile ground. Now, with that being said, let us start with the first of the 7 chakras, the Muladhara, or the root chakra. This energy center's core function is survival. When the energy is flowing freely, you feel physically healthy and secure in your life. Among the many things which cause blockages of this energy center, our first sin, wrath, is one, as the inability to control our temper shows the lack of stability in our life. One more of the 7 deadly sins take form here, this being gluttony, thus meaning overindulgence. This could be to food, to drugs, to alcohol, anything material that can become addictive. Many common mental disorders and conditions stem from a blocked root chakra, such as anxiety and depression. When this center is in balance, the energy continues to flow up the spine to the next energy center, known as the Svadhisthana, or the Sacral Chakra. Located just below the navel, this is the energy center of creativity, as this is where creation itself takes place, as this energy center also controls reproduction and sexuality. No creativity and no sex drive is a sign that this energy center is underactive. But being underactive is not the only issue. The energy centers can still become blocked when one is overactive, and this takes us to our sin, lust, which means unhealthy sexual desire and addiction. Engaging in lust implies that life is only this material world, as we are only infatuated with what is here physically and what will gratify us physically. The many enlightened masters of the world, such as Siddhartha the Buddha, Krishna, and Yeshua, have all spoke as one of their core teachings that life is beyond the body, as we are all infinite consciousness with the one supreme God. Though Krishna refers to God as Brahman, Yeshua refers to God as the Father. Buddha never directly called the infinite consciousness God, but as he became enlightened, he reached what was known as nirvana, as I had said in a previous episode. Nirvana means oneness with the universe. The universe is God. All by different names, they refer to the same truth. There is a misconception when it comes to the Christian belief on gay marriage. You see, the modern church agenda is led by the dark forces, and they are using this as a misconception to divide us further away from oneness. Being homosexual doesn't make you a bad person. We should love all and not judge all, as all is God, living out a unique experience to learn something. But when it comes to reaching enlightenment, or reaching the kingdom, as Yeshua would say, homosexuality is only a problem because it relies completely on the physical body. Now that being said, this is not only for people that are homosexual. Even if you are straight and you are only attracted to your mate because of their physical appearance, this still is lust. The modern church agenda will not tell you this, as this is a way to divide and conquer like the dark forces have done for so long. True love comes from the divine, as we are all God, as we should be loving the soul of the individual, as that soul is one with us and one with God. It doesn't matter if it is the same sex or not. As long as the love is divine and beyond this physical experience, it is true. Because a soul does not have a gender, it is just infinite consciousness. It is when we identify with the body do the problems come. Abstaining from unhealthy sexual habits and enhancing our creativity is a way to allow the energy to flow up to the next energy center. This being Manipura, or the solar plexus chakra, located below the chest where the diaphragm rests. This energy center controls personal willpower and confidence in oneself. When this energy center is overactive, it takes us to our next sin, pride. This means when self-confidence becomes unbalanced and overactive, it becomes arrogance. When one is arrogant, they put a wall up from themselves and the rest of the world. It is as if they believe they are higher than everyone. Such traits of a narcissist. Until one can overcome this with humility, the higher centers of love and compassion and divine union will be blocked. By believing one is higher than another, it shows their lack of knowledge of the truth, that we are all one. Another sin that is a symptom of an overactive Manipura is greed. One with an overactive Manipura has an out-of-control ego. One with such qualities believe everything is owed to them, with little concern for others. By having no compassion, you cut yourself off from the rest of the world and the oneness with God. Now, at the opposite end of the spectrum, an underactive Manipura results in the last two of the 7 deadly sins. The first being envy. This refers to not appreciating what you have and feeling jealous towards what others have, thus making you resent the person that has what you feel you deserve. An underactive Manipura is the result of low confidence and envy. Being patient and appreciating what you do have is a way to allow this energy to flow. It is interesting to note that the modern church agenda has kept the Old Testament of Judaism in the modern Bible, as there is much corruption that literally contradicts one of the sins. Let us take a look at Exodus 25. I, the Lord, your God, am a jealous God. Jealousy and envy are synonyms for each other. The infinite consciousness, known as God, is surely not jealous over anything, for it is everything, and there is nothing for it to be jealous about. It is all. Yeshua's sole mission was to restore the law of God to the Judaic people who had fallen and become lost. In Buddhism and Hinduism, restoring the law of God is known as DHARMA. So we can effectively say Yeshua's sole mission was to restore Judaic Dharma. Many Christians fail to realize that Yeshua was not preaching anything of the Old Testament. He only used it and its terminology so that the Judaic people would understand his message from their current knowledge of the divine. In a text which was taken out of the Bible and hidden away in the Vatican, known as the ESSENE Gospel of Peace, Yeshua refers to their scriptures as dead, and the true word of the living God was everywhere. But we'll cover more on this text in a later episode. The final sin that results from an underactive Manipura is sloth. This refers to lack of motivation, laziness, and boredom with life. This results from the lack of understanding of our true nature of oneness. If gone unchecked, this can result in neglecting our vital responsibilities, such as taking care of our physical body, taking care of our earth, and taking care of our children. This all stems from the lack of our knowledge of our true nature. We may feel as though there is no purpose to anything. This is another energy center where depression can present itself. We can balance this energy by observing all the beauty around us and seeing how everything is interconnected. The trees give us what we need to breathe, and we give them what they need. Everything is a balance because God is perfect. Clearing this energy results from observing everything around you and within you. In the Eastern philosophy, this is called meditation. Though in the Abrahamic faith, many may know this as prayer, but they are one and the same. if done properly. Many people think praying is simply folding your hands aimlessly, shutting your eyes, and asking God whatever you want and hoping you get it. This is not the case. In actuality, Yeshua was teaching meditation. When one folds their hands, this is actually a yogic mudra. The two hands merge together, give a feeling of oneness because the two halves of the brain join together as one. The thumb is pointed directly on the third eye, or the eye of wisdom, and the hands are pointed outwards to receive knowledge from God. Or shall I say, your lower self is asking your higher self, because you are God, you are one with God. You must set an intention and truly believe you will receive it. This connects you to the frequency of what you are asking, and in doing this, you will become that knowledge, and it will be given to you. When we realize we are one with God, we realize we have access to all knowledge. Yeshua says the very same thing. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours. This is what is now known as the law of attraction. Through meditation, with the deep desire for truth, you will attract it. Seek, and you shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened for you. Asketh, and ye shall receiveth. Through meditation and the desire for the truth, we shall raise our consciousness above the lower nature of the lower centers. In reference to this, I give you a quote from Krishna. These are the three gates of this self-destructive hell: lust, anger, and greed. Renounce these three. In closing of this episode, I will end with a quote from Yeshua in the Gospel of Thomas about transcending our animal nature to experience the divine. Blessed is the lion which becomes man when consumed by man, and cursed is the man whom the lion consumes, and the lion becomes man. The lion represents our animal lower nature. To paraphrase Yeshua's quote, it can effectively say, blessed is the man who transcends his lower nature, and cursed is the man who is consumed by his lower nature, and the lower nature becomes his being. Thank you guys so much for watching, and in the next episode, we're going to cover the higher centers of consciousness and how they prompt a oneness with God. Peace and love to you guys. I will see you in the next episode.